Lucha.
All right. Looks like we're live, and we'll watch people peel in now.
Cool. Let's
Slow
see
but sure, sure but slow.
all these comments. My first YouTube appearance with my mentor.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. All right. Keeping an eye. This is not Jason Rojas yet. He hasn't joined. This is so for the three or four of you now. Yep, I got three here. Welcome. Appreciate you joining. I know there's a few other streams going on. It's always busy in the vinyl community, but it's not a competition. It's a love fest for vinyl. So come one, come all. Share with your friends. Let them know we're here. Like the stream if you would, please, to help draw in people. That always adds a little bit of a notification process for the algorithm of the month or the day or the hour by YouTube. God knows they do whatever they want. So welcome, Jason. If you're out there, come on in the back green room and join us. And wait for a few more people to get on. Hope everybody's doing well today. Second day of a week that's been just, I don't know, just been like trying to sip water out of a fire hose this week. I don't know why. I was hoping today was Friday, but that didn't work out.
Well, for me, every day is a Thursday. Sincerely, every week I have to ask what day of the week it is. It's been going on for the last 3 years, so I get the craziness.
Yeah. Hello, AZ Mick. Thanks for joining this evening. Appreciate you being here. I'll introduce Armando here in a minute when we get a few more people in, but just hanging out. Got a few. We're going to talk about. And Armando's here to talk with me about record grading. I've got a little bit of rant to go on about that and get his input, and I'll give you a little bit of info on him and why I've asked him to be on here. And of course, our buddy Jason will be on. Then we're going to talk about equipment. What's enough equipment to be able to tell, the difference between pressings and to get, the best sound for the best value, because you can get a lot for a little if you do it right. And a little means like under $1,000, I guess would be what I would say. And then may have a MOFI update. I've got a few pieces of little tidbits to troll through and see if they've been confirmed related to their lawsuits. So, hello, all. Frank, how are you? He said, hi, all. So, I got to get used to clicking these comments. See, when I click the comments, then they show up. And isn't that nice? And you see what Frank, there we got Vinyl NV. Very good, Tim. Very good. Tim, hey, Tim, how are you? Tim P's a regular here. There's Jason. There he is. Do I have a link? I thought I sent it to you in the email. Did you not get it? If not, I'll send it to you right now. Sorry. I thought I had done that. If not, I'm using a Mac, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I mean, seriously,
I'm about to invest in one of those, so
are you? Well,
I'm just so used
yeah,
to
I got
PC.
a Mac Mini, so I just got it connected to a huge television. So I've had it sitting there. Hello, Vicky. Hello, Dr. Lund. How are you? She's in from the cold north. I don't know. Maybe it's not cold up here the way the weather changes. It's been in the 70s here in Dallas. So,
Where's everyone from? I see Arizona and Nevada and
yeah. So, yeah, Easy Mick. I know. Well, like I said, Dr. Lund, she's in just on the Mississippi in Minnesota. Or next to Minnesota in Wisconsin, actually. She's in Fountain City, Wisconsin. Hey, Small Axe, how you doing? Won't be here long. 12-hour workday. Oh my gosh.
dear Lord.
Yeah, that's never great. Never great. So yeah, Wisconsin and waiting for a snowstorm.
I was
Yeah,
just I was just in Wisconsin not too long ago.
driving through it, huh?
Yeah, I was actually picking a collection up
We got
from
Tony in
a lady.
Germany. Welcome.
Holy smokes, this is
Yeah,
universal.
it is absolutely. You got Edmonton, Alberta.
Well, David, I
And,
didn't realize that you were Big Fries already. You're
you know,
universal.
yeah, I don't know about it's there you go. Guten Abend.
Long Island. I was just in New York not so long ago in November.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, Armando has done a lot of traveling. He's been a good friend for several years here in the vinyl community to me. And, the reason I wanted him on here, and Jason, I hope you saw the link there. If not, I'll put it up again, is Armando's been selling records for quite a few years. And there's Jason. Hello, Jason. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Guys, how's it going?
Jason, meet Armando, Jason. And Jason, are you in Minnesota? Where are you at?
Yep, I'm up in cold Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. So you're close to Dr. Lund.
Freezing,
Yeah, there you go. And Armando, you're in Oregon, right?
I am.
He is. So thanks, gang, for joining. And as people roll in, so Jason joined here a week or so ago, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And people asked to say, hey, do it again sometime. So I did. And then one of the topics I want to talk about was the vinyl grading, and the reason is I just hear so many people throw around the word mint or minty, or and I really just feel that kind of gets abused, when you really look at the gold mine standard. And it reminded me of, and I learned this honestly through Armando, and he was running a group called Second Chance Records, where we did auctions and things like that. But it always was conservative grading, really conservative grading. And I think that's really important, because I think we've all heard the Discog stories, where people order something and they say it's a near mint minus or a VG plus plus, and they get it, and it looks like it's been in somebody's dishwasher or something, or been banged around the back of a trunk, and so I know those are extreme examples, but, I think everybody has a certain level of expectation. And one of the things that Armando did in his approach is many times he actually play tested the record, not just visually graded the record. And to me, what do you buy it for? You don't buy it to hang it on the wall, look at it, or to inspect it. You play it. So I just wanted to have a discussion about that. Jason, I just want to get your input, because I know Armando and I have talked about this a lot. I just wondered what your thoughts were on the topic, kind of in general.
Well, I agree. When you're trying to grade records, right? I agree with what you said. It's about the visual and also the playability, right? You can't really escape that. I think most people just do visual. I did buy from a seller recently, and he actually off eBay, I bought the Ted Nugent self-titled record.
Okay.
Familiar, but he had it graded as VG record, VG plus, and then he played it before he sent it to me, and then he honestly told me, like, well, it actually sounds like G plus, but I sent you the record. You let me know if it's bad or not. And it felt like it was a dagger in my heart,
And so do you think it was like a G plus? Have you got it yet? Or
I got it. I played it. It was actually more a VG plus. So he
really conservative.
Right.
Good. Okay.
But I cleaned it. I cleaned it though.
Yeah, sure.
So Jason, please forgive me. I'm going to have you continue, but are you a seller, or are you also a collector, or are you both?
I'm just a collector. I mean, occasionally I sell records, but not too often. Maybe just like record dealer friends and whatnot. But the titles I get, I mean, other than I just dropped Ted Nugent, I don't know. That's just the record on my record player right now. But usually I just get like some different things, it's like variety. Like I was going to show you like this thing. I think this is like a jazz piece, like Lonnie Smith. There's that guy, what's his name? What his channel is like, what is it? What Brown Jazz or something? I don't, but he's got one of the best jazz channels, and he was mentioning this on his Instagram. And he was like, there's a good deal on this. You should not like miss it, And it's just got a great cover, as you can see here. Let me see if I can fold it down, right? So can you see that, guys? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Now let me do it right. Let's see here. There we go. Let's do it right. Man, talk about awesome. There's like that hands, the lion, right?
Wow. Yeah, it's got a lot going on.
But I mean, I would say like this is not a perfect cover, as you can see the split seam right there, right?
Sure.
It's totally
Right. Yeah, exactly. So and when I go look at records, I mean, it's even the deal when you buy something sealed, you don't know exactly what you're really getting. I mean, it could be warped if it was in storage for 30 years or what, you don't really know until you get it. So, and there is a standard rating criteria for that. Thank you, Doctor. She's the perfect straight lady for me. It's kind of like here it goes. So I'm gonna so the way it's grading is there's the goldminemag.com, and they say mint is, and again, you have to be able to pull the record out to be able to tell this, right? It says they are absolutely perfect in every way, often rumored but rarely seen. Mint should never be used as a grade unless more than one person agrees that the record or sleeve truly is in that condition. There is no set percentage that the value can bring. It is best negotiated. So it should be fairly rare that you really have a true, mint record. And then there's near mint. And I'm going to see if I can share this screen here real quick. Try share screen. Okay. Record grading. There we go. Hang on.
Jason, how long have you, while David's looking for that,
Yeah.
how long have you been collecting? I'm kind of getting to know you a little bit as well.
Jason,
Okay.
you on there? Did I lose everybody?
Yeah, I think while you're on this, you can't do that. Can't hear people.
Hang on.
Jason went blank.
Hang on. And I didn't realize that.
Jason,
What do I have to do? Mute myself? I can't remember. But I think Rachel has to do this occasionally too. But go ahead, ask him the question. I'm sorry.
So Jason, how long have you been collecting by chance, and how many records do you have? Oh, I think it's Jason.
I see his mouth moving.
Yep, I can't hear him.
You got to rejoin?
And also, as David's bringing up some stuff, I'm kind of like the quiet guy. But when
give him your back, let him know what you've been doing and what you think of grading and where your background is on that. Armando.
Can you hear me, David?
I can now, yeah.
Right, perfect. By the way, I'm somewhat taking David's lead, but I'm somewhat new to the record collecting and selling for like the last 4 or 5 years. So when I start speaking, any interaction or any questions that you guys may have, you guys are like the professionals. I would love to hear from you as well. But I'm asking questions for like a reason. Like Jason, how long have you been collecting for, and how many records do you have by chance?
So I've been can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, man. I've been collecting since the mid 90s. So I think I have now like about 5,000, but at that point, like maybe like 2000, early 2000, like 2005, I had like 10,000 records.
Holy smokes.
Because like at that time, I don't know if you remember in the 90s, like people were just buying CDs, selling their records, and similar to Grant and Stunty, I was like just buying it for like $1 a quarter. It just didn't matter, and just a funny joke, like my girlfriend at the time just hated them. They were just taking over everything, but I mean, they were so cheap, I couldn't help it.
Yep.
So
I've used that line. I can't help it.
Well, I mean, the funny thing was like I gave up cigarettes, and then at that time, I think cigarettes for a pack were $3. And I was like, well, I can give that up and then get 3 good dollar records. That was like the thing.
Yeah, right.
So you're pretty experienced with like rating yourself, and you're primarily a consumer, so you would have this expectation being around the block of like what to buy and what should be closer to like your expectations if you want to buy a record VG Plus or VG. You know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. So yeah, in a way, Armando. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to brag about it. Like, I'd still look up the price, whether it's on like eBay or Discogs. I mean, to be honest with you, like I've seen the price just fluctuate so high, and during the pandemic, I had people reaching out to me directly, and like, you have this record, would you sell it to me? And I was thinking to myself, like, well, you're not going to be able to, like, that record doesn't come falling out of the sky for $1. That's like a $500 record.
Right. Yes.
So, and I've seen that. I think, like, how long have you been collecting or buying records?
Well, that's funny that you say that, and wanted to get into that. I never sincerely, I didn't even know. I knew what a record was, but I didn't even truly know what a record was, or certain artists, until about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And so I come from a fresh perspective of, I'm starting from scratch, even though I'm a little bit older. I know a little bit about music, not as much as you. For me, I grew up fast and I was raising a daughter, so music was a secondary. So were concerts. But to put food on the table during COVID, I had like 50,000 records that I had acquired.
Ooh.
So I started selling them online, right? And in order to go ahead and start and just supplement some income, I'm like, well, hey, if I'm doing like online auctions or online record sales, and I want to be successful, kind of like with my previous employment, I had to figure out how to sell these records and make everyone happy.
Sure.
So I had to turn to a lot of people, like Goldmine Standards. I had to turn to literally went to record stores, record auctioneers, buyers, customers. I probably asked about 200 people how to grade certain things, and I just kind of picked it up.
Yeah. And what the thing you did, I think, too, is your sensibility about grading it was because you were so new to it. You wanted to be precise. You wanted to be accurate. You didn't, so that, as opposed to, he didn't come in with a lot of presumptions, you know what I mean? And so he kind of had to learn it as he went. So I noticed that early on when I bought a few things from him. They were way better than I thought they were going to be, and I'm like, wow, so he's always kind of downplaying what it is, and it's better than that. So you gain confidence then, and that's really what keeps people coming back in a lot of cases, of course.
And I think one thing the reason I'm glad that Dave let me into the chat, this is the first time I've been on YouTube, is because I actually have a financial crimes investigator background. And at any time, people that feel comfortable with me with certain like laws and regulations of what you can do and how to like operate a business and stuff like that, like I'd be a really good contact. So I've done this for 12 years. So in my past profession for 12 years, the language when it comes to subpoenas or working with certain financial documents and legal documents, the language is very precise. So I think a little bit different from people like hobbyists or, just not having that background. I have to know, I take language or verbiage in a document, and I really just naturally go into it and see how specific that is or how vague it is. And I found it really interesting and really difficult, but motivating, is this goldmine standard and an interpretation that people have over grading. And in our community, because the goldmine standard somewhat it's a very, very, very good start. It is very vague, and I think legally purposely done, but imperfect, if that makes sense.
Well, I think, like, also back in the day, like, they did grade it, but they didn't grade it as like conservative as we do today. There were a lot of things in the dollar bin that were just like near mint or VG plus, but it was more of the value of the music, right? So I would see more Loggins and Messina in the dollar section, or the Eagles. Like, it was a common thing. Like the Eagles, I hate to say, even Led Zeppelin, those records were just like, everywhere.
Everywhere.
So as I was getting, if I could continue, if I was getting into this industry, first of all, I'm a peon. Like, you guys could tell me stuff about artists and all that stuff. Since I started late, I don't know music as good as you or titles and all that stuff. I am learning. I'm really proud to start learning. But in the process, I was able to go ahead and meet people high up there in the chain. For example, one of my mentors is David Bianco right here, who has been doing this for like 30 or 40 years. I also have a mentor, and I actually call him a father figure, in John Tefteller, who's like the #1 blues record collector in the world. I've actually had people like, Craig Moore. He is like Mail by Records or Mail Records here in Portland, Oregon. He's like the #1 person, mail or like a distributor for record sales in the U.S. And I've had his employees actually teach me certain things as well. And I've traveled a lot. And so these people, being a nobody, I actually wanted to know. I had an interpretation of what I read on Goldmine and my customers and feedback, but I also had people high up there that have been doing this for a long time. And what's really interesting is this is a very sensitive subject. I think everyone could agree. Is that
You're
right?
in a safe place. You're in a safe place here.
Yeah.
I hope so. But we've seen some meltdowns on oftentimes like online on certain forums, because there's certain folks that have a certain interpretation of what a grade is, right?
Yes.
So my story is this, and I'm going to give you a story right to start this up, right? And this is how my mind thinks. I was texting a man who bought a Superman for about $1.2 to $1.4 million. He bought it at a 9.2 or 9.4 grade. It was an original Spider-Man, and he wanted it, right? So as he potentially was going to be my employer, and we were filling each other out business-wise, one night we were chatting, and he told me about it, and then I got off the phone with him. And then I turned on, what is it, Pawn Stars? You guys watch Pawn Stars?
Oh yeah.
Well, that same comic, or sorry, he bought a comic. That same comic was brought into Las Vegas at a 5.5 grading. And Chumley, you know who Chumley is, right?
Oh yeah, the heavyset guy. Yeah.
He started getting like all excited, and he started touching it when someone said, whoa, this thing's worth money. It could be. I think eventually someone offered wanted 5,500 for the same comic. So in my mind, it was really weird to me that I was just texting the man that bought this comic for $1.2 or $0.4 million at a 9.5 grade, and then seeing Chumley, with this commercialized thing at $5,500 or something like that. But the main thing is that he said, or whoever stopped them, is that, whoa, be careful, because there's a certain grading, and some of these are extremely valuable. So it made me realize, although it was like a comic, there's a huge importance on understanding like the grading of what you're selling, and it could really affect, like, even legally. Oh, yeah. Like, can you imagine? Like, I also deal with John Tefteller, and he has a record that he has on there for like $174,000. It's Sgt. Pepper's Beatles, whatever. But imagine if he sold this record similar to this person. This is like a collector's item, and he said it was a certain grade in good nature, and the guy spent 6 digits on this record and got something that was completely out of the norm. And then all of a sudden, you have folks legally battling it out because someone felt like they were, what's the word, David? like that they got the raw end of the stick.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, have you been on like Mike Esposito's in-group whatnot auctions yet? Like,
I have.
What you're describing that's that. Like, it just gets.
So how does that
out
work?
of hand? Gets out of hand.
Yeah.
And though, like, in certain situations, like I think to myself, I personally would go with the person or the attorney that is defending the person selling the record, because everything's so gray, right? But because everything's like a matter of like of interpretation. But there are certain records out there that you really have to know your stuff, because it's a reputational risk,
Well, yeah, but it's also because of the personality. If the personality is like that great, that in-group whatnot auction, like, it's just I saw that Santana Abraxas MoFi one step go for, I think, like 22,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. Like I was just watching the number like just rise, 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 and I was just like, I can't believe this. Is 2 LPs worth 2,200? You know?
Yeah, it is.
So wait. So there was 2 LPs that in reality is worth $2,200, but it went for 22,000. Is that what you said?
No. 2,000. 2,000.
Okay, cool.
So I mean, the way I price it, the way I think it is like, okay, 2 LPs, right? 2,000. So it's $1,000 per record, really. You know, minus the box. You know,
Right.
that's the way I think about it, and I'm like, wow, it's that special. You know, you're holding it like the guy in Tron with a frisbee. You're holding it to the light. You know,
Mm-hmm.
shining on you. You know.
So yeah, that's really crazy. Out of curiosity, Jason, your interpretation is a $2,000 record extremely expensive.
What it's worth. Yeah, I mean, I'm already at the level like I question myself if I'm gonna pay something above 3 digits. Like I've been doing this for a while, right? Single digits, like fine, right? No problems. 2 digits, okay. Like I got to make sure I know the artist a little bit, you know, the condition. 3 digits, okay. I can do a lot of other things with 3 digits, right? Like get
Yeah.
a great food or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Liar,
Plane
three
ticket,
digits
you
of
know what I'm
already.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
now I'm questioning, like, wow, is this really worth it? You
Worth
know,
it.
4 digits, like, you know.
Yeah, that's dangerous territory.
I have a friend who's like I think a doctor, a proctologist or something. Like he makes bank money, you know, and he'll just text me, you know, occasionally. I don't hear from him that much, but he'll show me a hot record, you know, and I'll just look at it and I'm like, isn't that like a $3,000 record? Like, what are you doing? You know, and he's like, I need help with this deal. Like, you know, you're the expert. Help me with this deal. And I'm like, okay, well, if we're gonna do that deal, then you gotta get some video footage. You know, I need some audio footage, right? Like playing that record. You know, I don't need I don't need pictures, right? I don't need words to describe that record. You know, I need proof. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. Overall, with all your purchases, and even David, like, what would you say is like the percentage of? I come from like a seller perspective, not a collector. I have less than 100 records in my collection. It's not my time to collect yet. So, out of all the stuff that you've purchased, you and David and Jason, what percentage would you say that you're extremely happy with what you purchased because of the good grading?
I don't know. I'd probably say 80%, but I'm really picky about who I buy from.
For me, I think it's the musicality and the condition. Like but Armando, like I'm already coming to the point where I have all my dream records. You know, I'm not trying to brag here. Like everything I've always wanted, I got it. Now I'm at that obscure level where the records I really want are 3 digits or above. You know.
Yeah.
And I have to question myself, you know, like, do I really want to drop that? Like, and then I do the division. Okay, 16 records, $400. You know, how much is this? Where you see what I'm doing now? Like
Sure.
It's almost like I'm buying, wholesale now. You know, I'm just thinking about it. Like, oh, okay, you know.
Yeah. John has a good point here about grading is up to the buyer. Also ask the right questions, as many as you can.
Yeah.
If the seller has an issue with it, get out. Yeah, he's right. I mean, if they won't answer, send pictures, whatever, that's all you need to know, right? I mean, you have a right as a buyer to not just get a picture on Discogs. That's the generic, picture of it. So especially if you're spending three figures or more, of course.
It's really interesting as well. And again, you guys this is really cool because David, you've been doing this for like what, 40, 50 years?
63. Yeah. I've been doing it about 58 years. Yeah.
Jason's been doing this for 20, 30 years. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. I've met some folks. You'd be one of the common things that I hear about like the grading is like technical things like VG minus doesn't exist, or VG plus doesn't exist, or like strong VG doesn't exist, or near mint doesn't exist, or mint minus doesn't exist. it's really interesting, right? But I want to let you know, like, along with a lot of people in this chat forums, I've actually worked with some folks on the top 5% in this industry, certain folks. But when I ask them questions similar to like folks like me on the bottom totem pole, it's really interesting to know is that they also often use the VG minus or the strong VG or the other things that are really common deterrents like in our vinyl community. Like people just don't like using those things or it's an issue.
Ouch.
Well, the way you said that too, you were a little bit laughing about it, like VG plus 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 plus, VG minus minus. That sounds silly. I don't know, like you're saying it. You know what I'm saying? So it's
No,
very.
actually, there's one person that I actually really like, Mike Esposito. You mentioned his name, and I saw one of his auctions, and he sold an item at VG plus or something like that. But I actually knew what he meant, and I know he grades.
I really want to call this near mint minus. That's what it means. But I don't want to get into ranting on David's channel. No, but but no, I mean, I think that really is what they're kind of saying. It's so close to the edge by yes.
Yep.
It's so close to the edge that you want to say it, but you really can't say it. So
yep.
that's what I interpret it.
I'm just glad for like the guidelines and like really good customers and like those relationships that we've established with customers, because you get used to a seller, you get used to a buyer, and it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
Yeah, and like John says, play grading I mean, that's what you do. You play it. The visuals. I've seen records that look great and don't sound good, and I've seen records that don't look great but sound great. So it isn't. It always boils down to what the needle's going to tell you when it's traveling in the groove.
Yep. I also think it's important, David. I know that we've talked about this. Is like there's a difference between like a visual grade and
absolutely play grade.
Play grade. The only thing that I have like being kind of new in the last 5 years as compared to some of those folks is the only thing that really bothers me about the Goldmine standard, and I wish I could contact someone about it, is I don't like the word presumed mint. Kind of your thoughts on that, David?
Well, the problem with that, usually it comes with sealed, right? I mean, is that where that is derived from in your mind?
Yeah.
Presumed mint. Yeah. It's my thing is grade unknown. All I can tell you is the cover looks like this, and it, it seems straight and it doesn't, but I can't tell you anything about the record at all. No more than I can with a brand new record. I can't tell you anything about a new record, and God knows new records have issues. So, I call that grading as media unknown, because you don't know. That's the truth of the matter. You hope it's mint. You hope it's the best it's ever been, because you're assuming somebody didn't play the hell out of it and then put it in a jacket and seal it to give it to you.
Yep. Nick brought up a good point as well. The reason for that, just like being technically minded, I also work with like a lot of distributors, and I think specifically in 2022 or late 2021, I saw like a lot of records that were being pressed that oftentimes came in like slightly warped, and also it's like some of the older records like back in the 80s or 90s, like when you open them up, oftentimes they're like VG pluses. They've got like sleeve wear or some wear to it, and so just knowing that knowledge, that's why I have a hard time just saying, hey, presumably mint, if that makes sense. So whenever I grade something, I just put, hey, it's sealed. And like the pressing, and I focus on the cover grade. So
It's a more crapshoot today. I think quality control is down. I feel like anything, if you buy any records from Sub Pop Records, they're not on this live stream, are they? No.
I don't know.
It's really bad, actually, Armando. Like, it's so poor. I just got like 2 copies of the Wise Blood. I don't know if you're familiar with her and that music. It's really ethereal music, and you want that pressing to be clean as no pops, nothing, like, because
Sure.
it's really going to get you. I would say it's like the almost female version of Pet Sounds Beach Boy.
Okay. Gotcha.
Great music, orchestration, great voice. Again, if it's got like some static noise, like it just ruins the listening experience, right? You know, I just bought my second copy this past weekend, and I was like, again, I was like, please don't be bad, please. It's actually slightly like a little warped, but I mean, it plays well.
Jason, I want to see like your. I want to see a list of your records. You seem like you have good taste in music.
I have okay taste. I don't know, you know. Let me get the record for Tim P.
Okay.
David, do you want to have anybody else jump up?
Anybody who would like to, I'll send up a. Now, I did want to note this one comment. It was a Peter that had about microline stylus. In other words, it's like a Shibata, but it's a little different. But these can get in the groove in a better way and give you a better reproduction. So yeah, your cartridge stylus design definitely can have an influence on that. So I'm going to put up a link. Anybody wants to join? Let me put it in here. I'm learning on the Mac.
Trying to upload an avatar. All right.
Okay.
Guys, get this. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. That's what Jason looks like when he comes out of the shower, right? What is that? Yeah, and there are a lot of, I know in the Audio-Technica series, you definitely can change those styluses out between elliptical and Shibata and microline. So you don't have to, if you want to do that. If not, you get new head shells and go that way. Oh, what is this? First, is that a US or a UK?
You know, David, you got to go real. We got to go hard for Tim P here. We got to go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. UK. Okay.
So Tim P, if you can see this, if you're out there, this is no joke, right? I think what Michael 45, he forgot to tell you is that like it comes in this black sleeve and you can see the dates at the bottom. You see that?
Oh yeah, I see that.
Patent. My copy again has that. This is hilarious. It's got this is the original stickers. You can see, right?
Yeah, I've got the original stickers on mine too. Yeah, but I don't have that.
I don't think my copy has the posters, but I'm okay with that. I'm all cool with that. I just need the record.
You can't play that poster. I've tried.
But I think like Tim P, like if you're into this record, then again, a second, third, fourth, fifth pressing will do because there's nothing wrong with this.
Did Tim won one? I think he won one on eBay. I thought he said today or yesterday, a UK second. So I think he's got as close as he's willing to get financially.
That's good. The thing is, like again, if you get like an A2, B2, or no, what is an A3? B2
A3,
or
B2.
B3, you'll be fine. Like do not be like me. Don't go that way. Don't seek the blue triangle, you know.
Well, I've got the Pro Series EMI Japanese and it sounds as good as an A3, B3 to me. So and it's a lot cheaper.
Like I even think if you can get that 30th anniversary.
Oh yeah, that's
triple analog Doug Sack.
That's because that's $140 or so, I'd say.
That's
yeah.
Like because that record, Armando, do you like Pink Floyd?
I do. Okay,
so are you familiar with this record?
Yes.
And then do you have that 30th anniversary?
I think so. I think I might.
Okay, that one, because that one has like the bass a little bit up, but when like you hear that first song, what is the first one? Speak to Me, right?
Yes.
And that bass, the heartbeat comes, and I felt like on the 30th anniversary, you really feel it. I was like, whoa, I don't remember this at all, you know?
Yeah.
It just like really hit me. I was like, dang, like, uh-oh. Which is different again from that original A2, B2. You know, I think the A2, B2 is a bit more balanced, but I also think like the A3, B3 is a little more, I think it's cut a bit more hot, you know, my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. but you know, start to split hairs a bit. But yeah, the 50th that's coming out, I'm sure that's going to come out now this year. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with it, but
Well, I think you got to think about it, right? That book is that announcement came what, a couple days ago, right? So then,
the book,
I mean, just the announcement of the book.
yeah, that was actually 2 weeks ago, believe it or not.
So now,
Yeah,
the hint, like that was
seed.
confirmed.
That's a seed they laid. Yeah, for sure.
That's like totally confirmed. But then he hinted about like the deluxe vinyl, right? But there was no like concrete information. That's what worries me. Okay, so you haven't really decided what it's gonna be. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But you want to make it to the March release date. We're in January now.
Yeah, I know.
Now, if I was a company, and you want to meet that deadline and you don't really know what you want, then I'm going to cut it digital. You see what I'm saying? And pay a lot of money to get that put in the queue of the pressing plan.
Hmm.
Why am
Yeah.
I going to spend enough time to get the analog, and get it done right? I got to meet that March deadline.
Well, the 2016 is pretty damn actually good as well for $30 or whatever. That Grunman did with Joe Platt, and I for the money, to me, that's really the best value of it to me.
Okay. I haven't listened to it, so maybe this
Yeah,
week.
it is, and Wish You Were Here is amazing. The
Wish You-
2016 Wish You Were Here is amazing.
I work with distributors, and I believe in Wish You Were Here so much. I actually ordered over 100 of them, so I could spread them to like people at a decent price, so that they could experience like the quality of the press. It's really amazing.
Yeah, that's very much a really good sound, and it has a digital in it. So I mean, it's not it doesn't, if it's done right and done well. But I got to go sniffing around Saline, Kansas, I guess, in February and start seeing what's spinning in the.
So I'm going to be
going on.
Alex Dickey. He didn't tell you anything?
Huh? Alex Dickey?
I'm going to imitate Alex Dickey.
Oh,
So
okay.
Dad didn't tell you anything? No 50th? No.
He told me that the RCA video disc is not going to come back. That's what he
Oh,
I mean, I've got laser discs out the Yahoo over here, so I mean, I went through that whole, CED versus laser disc routine. That was a joke. Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever really met a collector who's already got pretty much almost everything on his list.
well, I mean, I was a broke college kid, so, it got to that point. I don't know, like what is it? Now that I have like an IT job and all that, it wasn't just like how do I say it? I'm not like Nicolas Cage from that, what's that movie that he's The Rock, right? Where he's that fancy CIA, FBI agent. Now he can afford that Beatles pressing. Do you remember that part where he paid a lot of money for that Beatles record? But I'm more like Armando, like I do the research. What is the average price? And then I don't really have the FOMO. Like I can wait it out,
I agree. That's really cool. That's actually really smart.
Chance, concert buddy, he said he expects me to be in Kansas sitting at a burger joint. And I just want you to know that they have a Freddy's custard burger place there. And that's exactly where I would be sitting. So you're right. I'm going to, there's something coming. I know that. There's no doubt about it. They're starting to stage a police force around the pressing plant. I don't know what the deal is, but well, I actually do know what it is. I told him Alex Dickey was on the loose.
I mean, David, I'm surprised like Chad didn't like give you the keywords, like tell you like the secret code is great gig in the sky. Right.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. Well, to be honest with you, he made a comment about Dark Side, and he said, "Oh, that would be nice."
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
And that was like, I don't know, the way he said it. It was like, I don't know. It just left me with, you're just trying to,
fish, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, somebody bought him used to death. Should be here by Friday.
Oh, cool. Cool.
All right.
Did
Yeah.
you
By the way, the Steely Dan SACD of Can't Buy a Thrill came out today. Finally dropped. And I'm going to pick it up just to have a complete set, Yeah. Did someone say Tool UHQR? Yeah, iHomer's here. Okay.
that or Ice Castles?
Yeah, Ice Castles. Yeah. And yeah, that's frozen custard. Yes, frozen custard. That's right. That's what it's called. So Armando, what are somebody asked about whether you had a YouTube channel and a website and all that. So why don't you tell everybody what your status and future is? Because I'm trying to pull them into YouTube some. So
Well, I've been selling records mainly like on Facebook for like 3 years, Discogs, a little bit of whatnot. But I actually want to start getting into YouTube, and I want to start sharing people like my stories. I'm really glad, Jason, what you said, and I think it's very important. Because even though like I'm a seller, right? I also have this conscious about like how much I sell a customer. If I feel that there's this FOMO or this addiction or something like that, I always educate people just to be aware of certain things and making sure that hey, that they eat, they put food on their table first, they don't spend all their funds on records because you go down that rabbit hole, right? So like being methodical and precise on like what you buy, I think that's super super awesome. I also purposely do not collect records.
Lucky you.
I've gone through 50,000 records. I've gone through. I travel throughout the U.S. and I pick up collections, but I don't collect yet until I know that I'm financially okay. That I rebuy a home and like I got some savings for like my daughter, stuff like that, and then it'll be in my time. But what I want people to in this community to know that I'm a new person in this vinyl community. I looked at like the Davids. I'll probably be looking up to you, following you, Jason. The Rachel's Ghost, the Mike Esposito's awesome. G.I. Sanders. I'm a nobody, but I feel like maybe one of these days I'll be somebody. And the reason for it is like my business model is mainly I want to make my brand mean something. I believe in bringing educating folks with like grading and prices, and as I learn these things, you guys know much more than I do. But I pride myself in not knowing that because it gives me like another chapter in my life just to learn and to do this. But the other aspect, and it's very important, is I made a goal of donating $250,000 to nonprofits. I was making six figures as financial crimes investigator, and I quit my job not knowing that COVID would hit, so I quit. And then 1 week after, they closed pretty much down like the world because we've never seen anything like this before. And so as I've been blessed with a nice home at the time and all that, I saw children like the Portland Dornbeckers, like cancer treatments and St. Jude's and Make-A-Wish foundations. I'd be making these phone calls, right? As I'm seeing like folks selling records and making a lot of money. And I realized, I was like, whoa, what about these kids that they're already terminally ill and now that they can't get out of these locations because of COVID? So I called and they're like, oh my gosh, universally, it was like 40% decrease in donations. So I was like, you know what? For the first 2 years, I called it good and we just started donating our funds away. And it made me feel really effing good, more so than any other employment that I've ever had in my life. So I made a goal of $250,000 while continuing to do this because I love selling records to people and learning. So I want to share with folks my journeys. I just went to, for example, you're pretty familiar with Norman Dolph. He's a record producer of the first Velvet Underground with Andy Warhol.
Yes.
He just recently passed away, I believe, in May, and I bought out his collection in Connecticut. I was just in Billie Holiday's house, previous house in New York. So I spent about 2 hours there inside her home and experiencing how it felt to be in that atmosphere as she was performing in her home with other artists. Been in places where Mike from American Pickers was at, like check out Big Tech's episode back in 2020, I think. he did this. They picked from a place that had a train inside the house. I was there. I met the lady, took some pictures. It was really cool. But a lot of our funds, at least 10% so far, go to women's shelters, foster care programs, children's fundraising, treating cancer, things like that, and just really good. So I will be coming out with a YouTube channel pretty soon. I believe in and everything that we talk about, being transparent and doing really good things with records, because these are just things. And yeah, and I do travel with John Tefteller. I'll be showing everyone those $175,000 records. The Tommy Johnson that was purchased by him for $37,100. I think it's still like an eBay record or history like that. But we're going to go into his warehouse, and we're going to be talking about some of these things, some of these records that are true rare records that you cannot find. I don't know how I stumbled across this. I don't pretend to. It's like, humbly, these are not my things, but I feel like there's folks out there like you. You have a passion for music. You showed me like your Pink Floyd. People have this passion for to know all these articles that they read about. Now I want to bring these things into your home through a YouTube channel, and open-endedly. So really excited about that. Just broke off, and I have a Facebook page called Vintage Mio Records, and soon to be a YouTube channel. So pretty excited about that. Long-winded, sorry.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's where you're headed. So, no, it's good. Yeah, and there's other sellers on where we started with Second Chance, and a lot of those sellers, did donations and stuff. So it's kind of like the ethos or the DNA of that group, and that's really through him. So it's kind of good to see something good coming out of just vinyl funds and purchases, and reaching out a bit. So that's kind of nice.
So you guys are the pros. I'm excited. Actually, I think Rachel's Ghost was in here or something like that.
Yes, she was. Yeah, I think she is. Yeah, she's said she was working on genealogy and listening to this while she was working on it. She's trying to find more cousins.
Yeah, she was actually my inspiration when she interviewed Michael Fremer. I'll be honest, I didn't really. It was just some dude who is notorious and for, I don't know, saving vinyl or something like that. And when she interviewed him for about an hour and 30 minutes, he actually became a person to me. And I reached out to him, and maybe soon you might be seeing me travel to New Jersey and paying him a visit.
Yeah. Yeah, music and medical. She brought Dr. Lund brought this up, and I did a thing on my channel called oh boy, it's with the spin the spectrum about people that are autistic, and how this DJ is working with them to develop skills, in this. So it's kind of interesting how these things germinate out. And I know with nursing homes and that, music and people and helping the older folks and all, I mean, it really is a wonderful connection that can be made. So that's part of the aura. So
look at that. Rachel responded. Still here. Yay.
Yeah. She
Awesome.
is. So,
well, David, thanks for having me.
Thanks. You're welcome, Armando. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy getting everything going. And so I thank you very much. And got to do it again, bud.
All right. Sounds good. Hey,
All
Jason,
right,
it was nice meeting you, and everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Armando. Take care of yourself. See you, buddy.
See you later.
Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah. So interesting guy. So next topic, Jason, I was thinking about was equipment. What kind of, how much do you have to really invest in order to be able to hear, the difference between this pressing and that pressing, and that's, I know you can go crazy on that, right? But what's you're not going to go buy a suitcase Crosley and hear a difference, for example, of course, but
but you'll be able to, enjoy the music, I guess,
Yeah, you, at least for a while, until that record's ruined from the stylist digging into the. But okay, but I mean, I think the point is because someone I know, I don't have the highest end equipment, but I can hear the difference in these pressings, and I can, and to me, the cartridge and the speakers make the biggest difference to me. because they're the transducers, that are in the system. Those are the two real transducers. And so, and you can probably get more frequencies of the range the way you want it. Do you like a lot of bass? Do you like, if you, let's say you play everything flat on the amplification, can you get more bass? Yes, out of a certain style speaker or whatever, certain cartridges or, brighter, flatter, bassy or whatever, as well. So, I don't know. I think you can easily with separates like speakers and even some of the turntables today that have preamps built in, and then there's powered speakers, self-powered speakers. Even those can sound pretty decent with a decent turntable.
Yeah, I think John Biphop said like it really starts at the source.
Of course, it has to. Sure, it's sure.
Like my setup is like really simple. It's just 2 Technics turntables, Ortophone. I think these are like the club cartridges, and then a DJ mixer. Again,
Yeah.
I don't powered speakers. I have like Acoustic Research 570 powered speaker.
Okay.
Again, I do not have an audiophile like thing. I'm not interested anymore. And then I have like Grado headphones, and that's how like I A/B it with that mixer. Then I'm able to move the crossfader.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
Really
I have a mixer too. Yeah.
Like really just tell easily.
What kind of mixer do you have? Is it a Pioneer? Or?
No. It's just like a Vestax DJ mixer.
Okay.
One of their last models before they went out of business. I love it. Like, I used to own like a lot of Marantz and like speakers and all that stuff. And I'm an engineer, so if the thing broke, I would go in there and look up the specs and go fix it.
Yeah.
I'm done with those days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe Marino. Let me get you the link to I think I can get it for you.
So John, what do you mean by positive sound quality attributes? What, do you mean what are positive sound quality attributes for your taste? Is that what you mean? I just want to clarify because I kind of think I know where you're going. Yeah. Techniques make some great stuff. Yeah. Grado headphones, as long as you realize that people on the outside are going to hear them. That's the thing about most of the Grados, right?
Well, I don't think, again, you have to spend that much,
No.
Let's see here. Who asked that? Mr. Joe Marino.
You said you weren't talking about the Concords, were you? Ortophone Concords?
Yeah, but it's like a different one, so I'm giving you.
Okay.
You can look it up. It's a Mark II. I think Bagheera was teasing me on one of my videos, commenting about my my setup not being audiophile, but I don't think you need an audiophile to set up to listen and enjoy your records,
I don't either. I don't either. And it's not, to what is to be an audiophile. Of course, having audiophile equipment, that word gets bantered around. But like you said, the source, if you have an audiophile recording, a really good recording, then you're starting with the best possible source. And then, it either goes uphill or downhill from there, I guess. Okay, so there he goes. Nightclub. Yeah, so you're not still scratching records, are you?
No.
Okay.
The thing is, like, I have like a lot of DJ friends back in Ohio, and we would all come together, and everyone would bring their kind of like latest record they bought or things they had like questions about. And that was like the cool thing, to have that music sharing, right? And then of course people would have bragging rights. Oh, listen to my $500 45, right? And we'd listen to it. It would just blow your mind. You're like, wow, this is super good. And we'd all like, I'd give everyone the Wi-Fi password so they can look up how much the damn record was, and cry,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So that's where I came from. Like, again, different from some other backgrounds in a way.
Sure.
I think the music is meant to be shared and listened to. Like, I guess,
Enjoyed.
Yeah, enjoyed. Like, it was the old way, the community experience, I suppose, right? versus what it became. Like you're sitting in your, I don't know, your room, you know, soundproof, again, your $50,000 turntable, right? You know, $100,000, you know, monoblocks, whatever, you know, that's not, you know, not
What
me anyway.
drives me nuts is the turntables where you have to move the belt on the outside. I don't know why, but that's just for some
Well,
reason.
I mean, I always thought like, again, like, because with those expensive turntables, you're customizing it, right? Like, and I've seen videos with, again, the tone arm and the cartridge, and yeah, of course it matter. I'm not making fun of that, downing that. It's just a different thing. I'm not into that, you know. I mean,
Yeah. So what's the matter? Bagheera is not even a cartridge fan tonight. But again, the cartridges make the biggest, really huge sound
yes,
difference. I mean, that so you really have to find what the sweet spot is for you, and even certain brands, have signatures, and then within the models you move up or down or whatever. So, and that's just it. There's no right or wrong answers on these things, and that's what drives me nuts when people try to tell you there are. And
I can't.
and people's hearing is different. Their perception of what they hear is different. It's a very complex mechanism when you really take it from the needle to the ear. There's a lot going on there, right? So let's see. What's he?
Why are you buying
Spherical stylus? Oh, it's a conical stylus on there?
It's an elliptical.
I would say it's an elliptical.
You need to look it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's a conical.
No.
No, okay.
You got to look up.
Yeah, Grado does make cartridges.
You got to look up that orthophone.
Yeah.
Let me put it for you again. You need to look at it.
Yeah.
It's an elliptical. Now people get to hear my keyboard.
They love your keyboard. Your keyboard is it's part of your aura. Yeah, Orthophon Black is nice.
Well, that black or the gold, right?
Yeah, if you got the bucks, go for it, right? It's like everything else.
There you go.
There you go. An 05 Pro in college. Okay.
See, again, like Bagheera, like why do you need to play audiophile records on an audiophile setup? You can just enjoy it. It's not how you listen to records, to enjoy them,
Yeah.
Like I can hear the difference between.
You can hear the difference. That's the point. Yeah.
When I played my OG of the Steely Dan, Can't Buy a Thrill, and compared it with the UHKR, I could hear it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then I compared it to that the Universal pressing. I almost cried how bad it was. Like
it hurt my ears almost.
I had to tell that. I was like, I'm taking this back or whatever. This thing sucks. I can't believe this. I can't believe this is on the market as the consumer.
What killed me honestly about that is I had just been sick and I thought maybe I had something, that was affecting my hearing. So I waited a week, did it, and it was the same. And everybody, there were a lot of people going, that's the greatest press I've ever heard. And, and I'm like, so when I went to Europe in December, I bought another copy. So I knew that I would be getting one from a different, lot. And it would be, I got it in Sweden, brought it back. Same thing, it's just awful. And I don't know if it's a digital, I don't know what it is, but, and I did call the guy who was the engineer, who did that. His initials are AA. I can't remember his name, Armand, but he didn't want to talk about his process.
Oh, wow.
He didn't, he said, I don't want to say anything one way or the other. He's a small independent guy that works literally out of his house, and he's doing these big jobs for Universal for all of the Steely Dans. And I said, I get it. That's fine. But I was kind of curious how did he get Bernie's, tape, or did he get, what did he get? Where did it, what's the mastering chain there, and what are the source that he got? Because I just don't necessarily think that they would have just handed him Bernie's. I think Bernie was aligned with Chad, and they had the analog piece. And I think, the other was all digital. And the other part of the agreement was Universal gets 33, analog production gets 45. Case closed.
Okay.
That's it. Very firm lines, dividing lines. And 33 has to be digital. That was the other part of the agreement.
Wow.
Has to have a digital step in it. So, yeah. And so the very, very distinct approach. And that thing hurt my ear. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't usually have any experience, anything like that. I mean, it was really odd. I'm glad to hear somebody else had that because I was starting to think I was losing my mind.
No, you were not losing. I was very disappointed, and I felt for somebody who buys that consumer version, like I wish, any VC member that's in Minnesota or close by, you want to hang out, you want to compare, come here. My door is open.
Same way in Dallas. Yeah.
We'll listen to those records, and I want you to hear, like, can you hear what I'm hearing? Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's and again, all I'm saying, I can't say what element caused it or whatever, but the difference is stark, to say the least. And I've, Can't Buy a Thrill to me is one of my top 5 albums, and I've been listening to that, for as long as it's been out, and I play that album a lot. I have a lot of copies of it, and I know it. I have muscle memory in my brain about that album. And immediately in the first seconds of Do It Again, you're hearing stuff like you never heard it before. I mean, and it already has a very high percussion kind of, feel to it and all. And it was I was going to say orgasmic, but I mean, it was like chills kind of an experience for me.
Can I answer Joe Marino's question?
Which one, right there?
The thing is, you could spend a lot of money on the gear, right? Keep on going. When will it end? That was a question that hit me 20 years ago, which got me to my very simplified setup today, because I think if you keep on adding things like an amp, a preamp, especially the tube, and I come from an engineering background, you are definitely coloring the sound. If you try to go for what could be the most simple setup, right? Maybe a turntable, one of those preamps and the headphones. What is a pure simple setup?
Yeah. It never ends.
Case that you want to. I think you can spend money on all that equipment, or you can spend money on.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe Marino, don't let me get my jazz records out. Please don't do that.
Well, it's like, we used to have in the 70s, 80s, the power wars, 100 watts, 150 watts, we used to have that going on. And back then I found out about these amps called NADs, and these amps, they're like 40 watt, but they have plus 3 dB of headroom. And what you realize is you only need that 100 watt for an instant, when a certain note gets hit. So all you have to do is have the bandwidth and the headroom to get that, because you're listening not at 100 watts, you're listening at 30 watts or whatever normally, right? And those things for $300 would just smoke everything that was 100 watts.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close, And so I've collected NAD amps, integrated amps. I've got a bunch of them, and they're just, to me, the easiest cleaning sounded. Great preamp section. They can play a 2 ohm speaker. So, so it's like, just gotta. It's an engineering marvel, is what it really is. And that's what I'm looking for. So, let's see, what about tubes? Yeah, tubes at a certain level of distortion. Yeah. Yeah, the other thing I hate about my tube amp is I got to wait 20 minutes for it to sound any good when I start it up.
Oh no.
I swear to you. And then the meter, the electric meter starts going, woo. So, because it takes so much energy for them. Wow. 1 watt. What'd you say? No. Basic code, yeah. Crosby turned it. Yeah. Yeah. It's all over the map. That's true, Tim. It is all over the map. I'd rather buy this material, the product to listen to, because that's the difference. That makes, I can hear different things. So that ES receivers. Yeah, I got Polk monitors. I've been using Polk since 81, maybe. I have a lot of Polk speakers. I love Polk speakers. But I understand, if I got to get into a smaller footprint, I'm with Jason. I'm doing exactly what you're doing. If I've got to, trim down, which I may have to do.
Well, the thing is, now I spend more money. I'm used to my system. I mean, I've upgraded the mixers, upgraded the cartridge, I've grounded the techniques, because I could read the specs, right? I come from an engineering background. I personally, my opinion, I find it funny how much these techniques turntables are, especially that I've opened it up a few times.
Yeah, there ain't much in there.
I'm not sure if it's worth that much. I don't know.
No.
But I got it to where it sounds good. And then, these powered speakers, I got a great deal. Bought them for a pair for $20. They just need a rephone.
Acoustic Research?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow. Yeah, they make great stuff. Wow,
so
they've been around. Yeah.
That's like one of the sleeper powered speakers. You can get them for cheap, at least now under 100 on eBay.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, I'm used to it, and I can hear the differences, and other people can, when I brought them over.
Yeah.
So which, gave me more time to buy my dream records,
Your dream records. We all need dream records.
Now I kind of just buy, I don't know, I buy simple records. I was going to show you ones that I got in the mail. I showed you that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lonnie Smith. But out of curiosity, I picked this. Everyone knows what this is, right? Everyone knows what.
Oh, yeah. I think we've seen that one a few thousand times.
I think this was a hit for them. I think Alex
It might
Dick
have been.
said it best, right? Who plays lead guitar in Van Halen?
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. What do you think? That kid on the cover is probably now wanting royalties. You know how that happens?
Well, I always thought it was funny. I mean, everyone, do you see how it's upside down? I always oh man, come on now, right?
They did that on purpose.
I know. They could have, I don't know. But I was I got a good deal for it. So I was might as well. I haven't heard the record in a while. It'd be great to clean it up.
Yeah, better than buying the one step of it, I think.
Well, I'm, I'm curious about what they're going to do on that.
I know.
I'm very curious. I'm already disappointed with the Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah, and that's where, and that's to be honest with you, that's the most mixed response I've had on any. Some of people really love it. And I'm like, I don't know, wooden ships. I just don't know how you get past wooden ships, but okay.
Well, I still like side 4. I think
4. Yeah, side 4. Things calm. Yeah. I agree. It's a much, it's hit and miss. I know what I said in the review. It's hit and miss, unfortunately.
But it's too late. I mean, if the best songs are on side 4, which one step, it's 2 songs. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this is a cool one, as you know.
Oh yeah.
I like how it's just embossed too. It's so great.
Yes. Do you have Stop Making Sense? Their live one?
No, I think I used to, but
it's an unbelievable record in the sense that it doesn't sound live.
Oh, really?
At all. It sounds like a studio album. It is the most pristine thing I've ever heard. Someone had to convince me it was live. So, yeah. So
Oh, sounds like
Ooh,
a time.
geez. Yeah, you're gearhead, all right. Never mind, baby. Did I miss a?
That'd be cool.
Oh, really? That's great.
Did you say you were into Genesis?
I like them. I mean, I say into them, but I mean, I like them.
I think I got like an email from Rhino saying that they were releasing like sort of like live radio sessions or concerts, and it's
See, I'm not a concert person generally. To go is great, but I mean, to records, there's only a few concert records that I like actually, which that's one of them. But I'm not into. That's why record store day to me in a lot of cases is like because a lot of it's live stuff they're bringing back that that's what doesn't. Genesis BBZ sessions, I think. Okay.
Yeah, but it's also beyond that. I think iHomer, they have like early 70s and then do a few mid 70s, but they mostly focus on like later 70s, 80s.
Uh-huh.
And then they actually had 2 tracks from the last era, which was with the other singer, which is very interesting. I mean, despite people comparing it to like Van Halen 3, Gary Sharon as the singer, like I actually like all eras of Genesis,
Which albums was he on?
He was just the last singer. I can't remember his name, but that's the Calling All Stations record.
Okay.
And I have that on vinyl. It's really good. It's really good. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd say you can stream it. Like, again, keep your expectations down. Like, this isn't Phil Collins,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like there's different iterations of Genesis, right? I mean, the Peter Gabriel versus the Phil Collins. A lot of people who like early Genesis hate late Genesis, and a lot of people who like late Genesis like popish songs, and they don't like like the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway or something like that. So it's very different, obviously. It's not they're not anywhere close to one another. It's not like they just changed the lead singer. It's not that simple.
Right.
Their sound changed quite a bit.
Let me show one more record.
Sure, please do.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to check something on my computer here real quick.
I think everyone knows what this is. Right? Everyone knows what this thing. And this is the UKOG. U26, I think.
Okay.
And I think you can tell by other than the credits, I think the vinyl's different.
Okay.
And it's like mastered at Townhouse. So everyone can see that. There we go.
Okay.
See if I can get closer. Yep. This is as good as I'm going to get.
It's not translucent though, right?
I don't think so. I think the Americans are only translucent, not the European or the UK.
Okay.
But that was like on my next list, David, to get the American translucent and just give it like a comparison on it.
Okay.
Because I think that one's mastered at Masterdisc Townhouse, and then the Americans Masterdisc in America, I guess. I don't remember where Masterdisc.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did in the U.S., California. Yeah. I'm looking for a website real quick that I wanted to share with you guys.
Like I heard that the Joshua Tree, like the remasters, right, where it was spread on 2 LPs.
Okay.
Like really good. I was gonna go get that too, but then I'm also thinking like, how many copies of this record can I buy? Does everyone see my face?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think if I have a weird one of you too. I want to say I do. Oh, yeah, it's before Walk the Moon. Oh, yeah. This was, I think this is gold vinyl. It's a double album.
You'll have to shrink me if you want to show the record. I'm like,
Oh, geez, Louis. Sorry, I wasn't even looking. Goodness gracious. So this is like I'm trying to read the definition. When I bought it, it has this. Oh yeah, it's a gold record, and it's a 2 LP version.
was that pressed at QRP?
No, it wasn't QRP. I don't think. No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was QRP. I need to do a scan on it, to be honest with you, because it's been sitting here for. Who did I buy it from? I bought it from The Sound of Vinyl. That's who I bought it from. I remember it was a special order kind of thing. I know I have this logged in my database. It has a different code on the outside. Yeah, limited release. Okay, yeah.
Was that 2017?
Chris Bellman lacquer cut. Pressed by GZ, actually. But it was a Chris Bellman and Scott Cedillo lacquer cut on that one. But I haven't even opened it, to be honest with you.
Well, I think that's the pressing or one at like, I think they have GZ Optimal Germany. So I was gonna go back to the record store this weekend and, try not to hurt myself.
Oh, I see.
And then like see if they got that 2 LP version, and then like, well, if it's worth it, I'm very curious,
Are you?
if it sounds better or sounds, because I think what's that first song, or what's the one that opens with the bass, Within or Without You, that bass comes in
When the Streets Have No Name.
Well, that's one of them, but the one With or Without You, I think that starts with the bass.
Yeah, that's at the last track, on side 1.
And I'm thinking if I can hear more bass on the Chris Bellman, will it make it better? Will I feel it?
I don't know whether you'll. I mean, then it's a matter of how good is the GZ press, right?
Yeah.
Because that's back in the day when it was a little more hit and miss.
Right. So that's the mistake.
Yeah. So, has anybody heard of a forum called What's Best Forum.com? No?
Mm-mm. I tried to share a link to John Bandy about my band.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know. It's like I type it in the chat, and I don't know if the chat just hates my link or my comment. But John Bandy, you can look it up. Nick Pantazzi is right. It's Psychedelic Horseshit. The music is on YouTube. The songs, they're also on iTunes, Spotify.
Yeah.
So, John Bandy, you can tell me if noise annoys you.
Got it. So, this What's Best forums, they have a lot of interesting threads. They're not as crazy as Hoffman forums. They're a little more balanced. And so there's a thread that's been on there for a long time about the MOFI scandal and all that.
Okay.
And it got an update today that one of the first cases is beginning the settlement process of that. And supposedly it's, if you're a first retail purchaser of an album, you can either get a refund or keep it and get a 5 or 10% off coupon on next purchases. So we'll see.
I don't know about the latter,
Yeah, that's really cheesy to me.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a win.
No, that's not. And the first one, it's going to be, does it still have to be sealed, or you know what I mean? What does return the album mean? I don't know. But they're finally, at least they're getting off a dime, I guess, and starting to, get it through the court system, because that's been it was filed on August 2nd, I think. So.
I bought the MoFi Miles Davis in a silent way, and
Did you?
I didn't like it, and I showed it on Rachel's stream, and I got like a I wouldn't say attack, but people are like, how dare you say like the OG is better than the OG is no wait, the MOFI's, how dare you say the OG is better than the MOFI?
Really?
I was like, what? Like, I'm just hearing what I hear. Like, what I hear on the original was this like more presence, more groovy rhythm section, like Tony Williams. Like, if you cannot hear Tony Williams, the drummer, like, I don't know. Like,
Something's wrong. Yeah.
right. It just didn't feel right. And then I put the MoFi and I was like, oh, I get why people like this. Like, it's a very balanced mix. Like, I get it. Like, of course, it's hard to find a near mint OG. Like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't know about this. This isn't my, people praised it, but I was like, I don't know if these older people were losing their mid range or high, the high range of their hearing.
Sure. Sure.
That totally confused me because again, I compared them both and I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Well, John Bandy, they're only going to give you 5 or 10% back. Just keep that in mind.
No, he I guess, I don't know if he's going to take them back. I mean, if you take them back, then you get full value, I guess, of it if you're a first time owner. So
well,
I got a bunch of 1-steps that are sealed, so I'm ready to do it.
Well, I think like one of the things, what was it? When I started collecting records, like in the 90s, right? I would see some of the MoFis and they would be priced high,
Mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were always like a niche thing, right? I did not think of them as anything special, And I remember we were on like Rachel's stream and I just asked something in the peanut gallery directed to Mike Esposito. Like, I asked him, why were these things popular? Like, I don't understand. Like, did I miss something during the time that I wasn't buying these things? And what he told me was that it was during the pandemic or the start of it. You had these channels, Michael 45, Melinda, that were buying these MoFis and treating them as like the highest quality audiophile records available on the market,
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wow, like I never thought about it like that, because then again, like, were they going to go hunt down the originals? Maybe they didn't want to do that,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, MoFi they had a good reputation, and like anything, hit or miss. But they were the best thing out there for a long time. Let's just put it that way, right? But there's obviously more competition now, and you start peeling back the onion. You realize they were, before they got bought by Music Direct, MFSL, the actual previous company, was in collaboration and dialogue with Sony when Sony was betaing DSD, and they released Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever with actually a DSD on CD. They did that on a gold CD, and so they stuck their toe in the water. Then Mobile Fidelity got acquired by Music Direct, and they resurrected the relationship with Sony. And so they were using those then with their gain system was kind of a code, meaning they were using digital with it because that was part of the translation process. So all of those CDs were actually, but they were digital. You expected a digital step. That wasn't, you know what I mean? That wasn't a surprise because an SACD is a DSD 64. It's 1X sampling. So they were doing that. And then they got the thought, gee, I wonder if we could preserve these files through backing them up on that process. So we preserve the integrity of that tape when it comes in. So we then can, edit from there or do whatever from there. And that's when they started with that first release in 2008. And so, it was kind of a drip, drip, drip kind of thing. And I still think at the end of the day, for data retention, information retention, they're going to have to do something with these tapes because they just canceled Warren Zevon self-titled because the issues with the master tapes, so it's going to happen more and more. these tapes aren't getting any younger.
You know,
Yeah.
Can you highlight KRWD?
I thought that was a radio station.
I think it's great. It's great. Yeah. Yeah. And then John Bandy's recent comment. That's it. So John Bandy, this is like I've mentioned this to some other VC members, like privately. Like, and this is just between us on the live stream, safe space. You know, I think there's like a lot of some of the big channels will not be named. Like, I'm not name them, but I think they're just record newbies. My opinion. Okay. Based on like, I agree with you, John Bandy. Like, I don't know what to say. You know. And that was like the reason why I came on, like, to the, you know, commenting on videos, just like you did, John Bandy, and then coming to the live stream and then coming into the panel was to stop this misinformation, you know, or just share my information, my experience of listening to records. Like, you don't need to buy all this audiophile stuff, you know, especially if you enjoy the record, right? Like, I feel like David at times, like I feel like I'm crazy by these MOFIs. Like, my recent purchase with this In a Silent Way tribute to Jack Johnson and my Yaz upstairs at Eric's, my Yaz has got non-fill on it. So I recorded, like, you know, video of it, and I sent it to MOFI. Nothing. I sent them a follow-up email today. Nothing. You know. I think I have to call them, right?
Do you buy direct from them, or do you go to Music Direct?
Bought direct from MOFI.
Okay, I never have. I always go through Music Direct because they're customer service people. You call when you're going to make an order. It is much. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but it is much more personable, and you get a human being.
Okay.
Just FYI.
I take it to the next level. Like, I could just send an email and like, hey, if don't hear back, I'm pretty sure the Better Business Bureau would love to hear about this. And then you take it to that level, then it's not going to look good, you know?
Yeah. Look at Rachel. She's trying to turn this into a morning stream.
Come up here.
Come on. See, what I'm doing is I'm breaking news. You wouldn't have heard that anywhere else. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to do. Just educate the masses. That way I can say in a week, you heard it here first. You 35 people.
I was going to say, like, Rachel wants drama. I'll bring up that Stones mono box if you want. We'll go through it one by one, right?
Now, so I saw some comments in here that they said that the new ones are different than the original ones. Did someone say that in the
yeah, like that was also in the Hoffman forums, but I think someone else brought that up.
Yeah, they did.
I don't even know how I feel about that, but again, like, why would I don't know, it's just too crazy. Okay, so now I go buy the new one and I'm going to compare it with the older one. I feel like that's a comparison gone crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that box set is not cheap, you know?
Yeah, she doesn't have her makeup on. I know that's what's going on, so it's okay.
Oh, Rachel. Leah said she's sorry. Come on. Did she not write you back? Now I'm bringing the drama, Rachel.
Hey, well, Rachel, it's only 9:00 where she's at. So, what's the BBB? Maybe I missed something. I'm sorry. I'll admit.
Better Business Bureau.
The who?
Scam. Well, Big Ear, I don't know. I don't know, especially if you're MOFI and have a legal case against you.
Oh, you meant the Better Business Bureau. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
CD and they're equal, but oh, that's interesting. But do you have the BW712R6? Do you have the record or anything, or the OG? Let us know in the comments. I've always wanted to say that.
Mazzy, are you out there?
Well, Mazzy, I mean, he's probably busy cleaning his records. Just kidding.
Yeah, he got a new humming guru, right?
Yeah. Did you watch his video?
No, I didn't see it, to be honest. Is he all excited?
Well, 15 minutes in, he says he's wrong. He's like, Mazzy's wrong. And I'm like, wow, you'll never hear that again. You know?
Really?
Yes.
Did you set it on repeat or no?
Well, I had to make sure, like Rachel, I don't know if you saw the video, but I had to like go back and I'm like, did I hear this? Did he say he was wrong? Like he wouldn't even admit that on the Hoffman forums, you know?
So he's impressed with it.
Yes, but he also puts a caveat, tries to backtrack and says, I'm not going to clean any new records. Like, ugh, like, come on. Why don't you just try it while you fix yourself a
I'll tell you what, here's my challenge to Mazzy. Get your everything, new water, new everything, clean a new record and come out and show what result you get in that thing.
Well, I think like somebody raised it on the Hoffman forums. Like if you really wanted to know, why don't you can buy like, I think a $20, $30 USB microscope and then you'll be able to tell, right?
Again, my proctologist used one of those last Friday.
But again, you're going to be able to tell if it's clear or not. You know?
No, I slept through the whole thing, but it's slept. I mean, he came up and he said, "You're right. Your friends are all right. You are an asshole." Anyway, so he said that'll be $3,000. I said, my wife could have told you that for free. Yeah. Don't say USB microscope to me. It's dangerous. Now, is that a 3.0 or a 2.0 USB microscope?
But I'm curious. I don't know. I was like, wow.
I really don't want a proctologist with firewire. I can tell you that. That's for sure.
But I don't know. Like I have a VPI. I have no interest, to get an ultrasonic. I can hear the difference. I've done it. A dirty record and then cleaning it. So I think I'm more interested in. Wow, really?
Do you mean through Chad or Universal? Because Universal hasn't released Countdown to Ecstasy yet, and Chad released it in the second week of December. So I don't know if you mean Michael Chad or if you mean Universal, because Universal hasn't even announced the release of Countdown to Ecstasy.
You see here, Bagheera's comment. Well, I guess Bagheera, somebody put this in a MOFI comment. They said that they had, on the Hoffman forums, they made a video of the issue on YouTube. And then that's when they sent that link, the YouTube video, to MOFI, and then MOFI got back to the person. They're like, oh, no, we'll fix this thing. Please don't put this on, the YouTube stage. This is embarrassing. But I may have to do that, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't take that. It shouldn't get to that, right? I mean, that's just crazy to me.
Well, I mean, but that's, again, like customer service must not be going great.
Well, no, I just think there's certain things that aren't in their DNA. It isn't, it really, transparency. I mean, it's like the Zebon thing. And I did the video and I said, look, it's a great opportunity for them to say, hey, we plan to release this. We took pre-orders. As we went through the project, we found XYZ. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we said from a quality perspective, we don't want our name on something that has this many issues with it. And that's why we're not going to release it. Well, they didn't do that. All they did was send emails to people with pre-orders to say, sorry, there was a technical issue. We're not going to release it. And so they don't take any opportunity, and that's really, it's just not in their instinct. That's what I've come to conclude about them. And that's unfortunate because they get, I mean, they can make a good product.
Yes. No, yeah. I don't know. When something's wrong, I get like customer service
Yeah.
from AP chat or whatever.
Yeah.
They will send me an email, ask me,
Oh
like,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
can find
absolutely.
this. Are you okay?
So let me go back to the comment then that was made. Is the statement about the Steely Dan reissues, is this about the Universals or about Analog Productions? Because if
Yeah,
it's about Analog Productions, I will find out tomorrow.
yeah, he's saying AP, I believe.
Okay.
It's kind of like the third comment before that one.
AP, I believe. Sorry, it was so short. Well, I know that Countdown to Ecstasy was delayed 2 weeks, and one of the reasons was I think they did more re-lacquer cuts on that album than they did on Can't Buy a Thrill. I think they did. If you look in the dead wax on each side of it, you'll see a -3, which means the fourth lacquer, or a -6, which means the seventh
Oh
lacquer,
my.
because the first one has no dash on it. -1's the second. And so you'll see that. Well, on Countdown to Ecstasy, they had higher numbers on the sides, which meant they went back to Bernie more times, or Chad went back to Bernie more times.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but that's the difference in the philosophy. Chad, he's going to beat himself up or beat the budget up until he gets it to where he wants it. And he owns that.
Yes.
And that's the huge difference. That they have a face. They have and where MoFi, they just, you want to, I said when this all happened, I said years from now this will be a course study, a case study in how to not respond to a crisis.
Well, I knew, like, if you remember that video that Esposito did, and like, what, 10 minutes in the video, when he asked the question and the engineers sort of just like looked at each other,
Yeah.
hey, this was not going to go well. I knew it. I was like, oh no.
But it's like, what question did they expect? What did you have for lunch? I mean, I mean, it was, everybody knew that was the 800-pound elephant in the room.
Yes, yeah.
I don't even get that, and the fact that they threw those poor guys to the wolves. Yeah, Beato, I did see that. Yeah, that's a great
Did
video.
he work with Steely Dan? Did he guest with them?
I think so.
Okay.
But it was studio, but not a member or anything. But
Toto, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The thing is, they were not prepared, but and you're right, they were not prepared, but they should have known it was coming someday. They should have known it was coming. And the other thing, and this is just me, I don't like the fact that now you go to the MoFi site and Mike Esposito's review of Thriller is the front lead thing, and Michael 45's doing the same thing for Chad. And you get the emails from Analog Production Acoustic Sounds, and it has a link to Mike's, to his video, and it's just a little bit too, I don't know what the word I want to use is, but
mixed messages.
yeah, I mean, the Mike one's the really, we know Michael 45 got off the, MoFi Ranch pretty severely.
Mm-hmm.
And he's liked Analog Productions before that. It's not like he went to them because he didn't, but it's just interesting that this happened in this regard. And then, I don't know what they would have done if Mike didn't care for the Thriller. I'm not sure, but I will say I think it was a very honest video. I will say that. Yeah. I think, because I agree that if you really want to listen to all that's going on in the 196 tracks that were done, I mean, that's how many tracks were recorded for many songs on that album. And Bruce Swedien, who was the engineer, there's a lot of videos on how he did what he did. But my point is, if you really want to take it apart, the MoFi is the way to take it apart. You're going to hear it, but it's a little sterile. It's not like you want to dance to it. It's almost too clean, in that regard.
It's kind of funny. Just a week ago, I got a copy of
Oh, this is interesting. I saw that video. It's gone. Proclaiming it. I thought he dissed the Thriller. I thought Michael 45 dissed Thriller.
No, I think he dissed it. Is
Yeah,
it
he
done?
did.
We'll see. We can look it up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Can you highlight iHomer? Well, it was funny, iHomer. I was on the Whatnot auctions, if you remember, right? And I was asking Mike and Angel, could you get me a free shirt? Can you give me a shirt? And then he never responded back to me. And then I was surprised on Rachel's stream. Like he asked me, what size do you want?
Really?
Like, "Ooh, large." Well, I mean, iHomer, just wait till I, featured on the In Groove, website with my YouTube, review.
He wants to be a stylish shill.
Well, I was making jokes. Please don't use Alex Dickey's, t-shirt design. Please don't.
Do I keep the stream up? Yes, as long as you don't have any issue with it, Jason.
No, I don't. I didn't say anything dirty, guys.
No.
fine.
And and we had a new person on, Armando. It's always nice to have somebody new. So, no. Yeah. Yeah, I do keep the original MOFI is good. There's no doubt.
Yep.
If I mean, Thriller's it's a complicated album, actually, in my opinion, because it has different, it's the dance album, and it's got some ballads, and it's got an extremely high production level and engineering level. And you can get fed on that by different pressings having a different sound. I mean, I was surprised how good the original CD sounded against the SA CD. It blew me away. I really enjoy listening to the MoFi when I sit there and think about how Bruce built this album.
Yes.
Because I'm kind of geeky in that way, I watched his interviews and I'm like, man, how did he do some of this stuff? And he explains it. If you listen to a lot of the tracks, like let's say Thriller with the door creaks and all those kind of sounds,
Mm-hmm.
all of those are taking two tracks. They're stereo. They're not mono. And usually when people do sound effects, they just do a mono track and they throw it in there, right? He didn't. He mic'd it for two tracks and got like a real, that real feel to it. So when you hear those things in Thriller, you start, and when you realize that, you go, oh shit, that's why it sounds that way. But who would think of that or doing that, right? So.
Can you highlight Patrick's comment? It's really funny.
Patrick? Oh, there he
Final
is.
Archivist.
Yeah, I knew who it was. The MoFi Thriller does not suck. No, it does not suck. That is true. It does not suck. Is it as dancey feeling as the OG? Probably not, but it has much more detail. There's no doubt about that. The MoFi has a lot of detail. Yeah,
Can we use your quote on the MoFi website, Patrick? Could we, again?
Mm-hmm. Let's see here, Patrick. Do you like it better now or about the same as you did initially?
It's about to say, Patrick, did they give you the MoFi bucks?
Yeah, so it looks like it hasn't been opened yet. That's what I do. Yeah, I do that. That's I'm not going to read that one out loud.
Painful, hurtful.
Hey, I really, my thing is that it just really kind of drives a little bit of a wedge, I think, in the community a bit. And there's certain concerns about authenticity.
Sure.
And I think that's that's why I said I'm not going to take. I don't want a free record. I don't want any of that. I'll judge them, call them as I see them, like an umpire, and that's it. And everybody has the right to be wrong about it. Everybody has different hearing, different ears, different systems. That's fine. I got plenty of pushback on the Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and frankly, the people that thought that was great, I said, I'm really glad that you enjoy it. I'm glad that satisfied your sound, what you wanted to hear. That's great. I'm not going to sit there and say you're wrong, you're stupid. It's like, hey, that's great. I mean, it didn't do it for me, and here's why, and that's all. Thanks, you, Bagheera. Take care of yourself. Thank you. People need to judge for themselves. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
That would be the dream, Patrick. Thinking for themselves. Not watching the bigger channels.
Yeah. Well, people generally have problems thinking for themselves, in media, everything, you know what I mean? The wind starts blowing a certain way, and that's yeah, it is. It's a safe bet to say the APs are great. Yeah.
Yep. So far, I'm all in with the Steely Dans.
Yeah.
Patrick, give us a hint here.
Come on, you're not done with that yet? My gosh.
Give us a hint. B or D? B or D, Patrick? B or D?
I called Chaz Company MOFI AP. Oh gosh. One day I'll share a video that I did with Chad, which was an outtake.
Really?
Yeah. 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 I mean, he's an amazing person. I mean, wow, he gets going, and he's really passionate about what he believes in, no doubt.
No way. That one had more bass. I don't know, John Bandy. That one not. I don't know.
No, I think the Speaker's Corner was too bassy. I could tell which one that was. A was the winner.
No way. That's not what I chose. You joking?
A was the winner in that it got the most votes, or A was the winner in that it was the AP? Just to be clear here.
No way. I am. Really? Get out of here. Man. Yeah, but no one picks C, right, Patrick?
The quad.
Yeah, no one picked that one.
Yeah, well, I think I blew that and gave it away because I have the quad. I listen to it all the time. It's so obvious. The mix is different. C even had 3. Okay, well. People pick the quad. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
But I guess so. Is it which one do we think sounds the best, or which one do we think? Are you saying which one is the AP, for example? Are you saying which one the AP was?
I guess we won't know unless Patrick wants to hint.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's.
Yeah, that's the thing. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's exactly.
Patrick, didn't you do one about Desire? Which one won the Desire the shootout for Bob Dylan's Desire?
I think I picked D. Yeah, D was the bassy one. Yeah, I agree. I think I picked D.
No way, you're joking. Shut up. That MOFI is like highly regarded and praised, but the OG of the Desire one, wow. That MOFI Desire is going for over 300, Wow. Man, that blows my mind. You do, but people like the OG better.
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah. I don't know. David, do you have the MoFi Desire, Bob Dylan?
I do not. I have the OG,
Okay, wow.
so I can't give you a comparison. I almost bought it, but
Well, I think like I either picked B or D, because I just got a copy of the Ludwig Greatest Hits and I listened to it again and I was like, wow, this sounds great. What the hell? You know, it's actually shocked. Oh no. Oh boy.
don't even think about it.
Wow. A was the cheap $30 cut. You mean the reissue, the Bernie Digital recut. You're joking. No, you're joking, Patrick. No.
Is he talking about Can't Buy a Thrill again? What? I just where's he at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought I thought A was the recut. I thought it was the $30 one.
It is.
That's what. Yeah, I had that inclination, honestly.
Wow. I am. Patrick, I am at a loss right now. Honestly. Wow. I mean, honestly, like John Bandy, like you and David are older than me, and like I always tell myself, like, what do I really know about records? Yeah. Like Armando may have been impressed, like, of me like buying records in the '90s, but honestly, it's like I know what I know.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it's like, how do I know that this thing is the best pressing? Like I don't. I'd have to get a couple more and start comparing,
Right.
The thing is, like, I had 3 other records and I listened to them at the listening station. And I didn't want to pay for this one because it was like $50, like original UK. But when I played it back, I was like, oh no, this sounds really good. Like, oh no. Like, and I was like, the other 3 records, I was like, these are okay, but this is the best, So I'm like, I could spend $20 on a UK, but then I'll spend $20, $25 to get it shipped here, So I was like, okay, let's do the math,
As if to make the point to you, Jason.
Ugh. Patrick, we talked about that reissue earlier, and then it was just sounded so bad on my system. I was like, I cannot, like, compared to the UHQR, like I sold that 2022 reissue. Deal with it.
Yeah, I gave mine away.
Oh, John Bandy, no way, man. Like, I don't keep my white label promo. Come on.
No, you gotta be in Germany to get white label promos.
No.
I've got a Canadian yellow vinyl press of Can't Buy a Thrill, and it gives the OG a run for its money. Easy. It's really good. It is very, very good.
Patrick, then what was D? That doesn't make sense. If B is the greatest hits, A is the reissue. John Bandy liked F.
Yeah. What was F? Can't remember what they said F was.
I'm at a loss.
Yeah,
here.
I was stuck between E and F. Those were the two I.
You like E and F? I was like B and D, and I think it's because just a few weeks ago I got a copy of that Greatest Hits with the Ludwig cut, and I was like, man, this thing sounds great. Like, wow, what the hell?
It is. F was
wow.
OG.
Well, there you go, John Bandy. Woo! Man.
Yeah.
He was the speaker's corner, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that one I knew that was the base on that, gave that one away.
E was the UHQR, nobody voted for it. Oh man.
Yeah. No, people voted for it.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a majority.
No. No. Did it have more than F? So in other words, did Chad beat the white label promo?
Let me go up in here and let me see, because
Yeah. Okay.
numbers up. He was the UHQR. So they had 15 each for the UHQR.
And the white label promo? No. What did F have?
10.
10. Okay. So, yeah. So at least Chad beat the white label promo.
Barely.
Yeah,
Oh,
barely.
gosh. Ugh. Wow, that's what I found shocking when Michael 45 did his review. You know, he got a white label promo from Chad, right, to borrow personally.
Mhm.
And that's what like kind of like shocked me. Like, wow, out of all the comparisons, like he compared it to this copy. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't
Yes.
compare it to other ones. It was the white label,
Yep.
US pressing, you know?
Yeah, that's what he had in his office when I was there. That was his
Really?
against his test pressings. That's what he was going against.
Well, I think that's why, like, when I saw your video when you went there, and then he had all those white labels, and that's when I decided, you know, with that whole announcement, I was like, I'm all in. Why? Because I own all the white label, promo,
Mhm.
the Steely Dan, like
Yeah.
catalog, you know, and I was like, I'm all ready for this. We're gonna see. But it looks like, according to Patrick's contest, I failed poorly.
But you still love it.
Well, hi Nadine.
Is McCarthy D, is that Mazzy's code name now because he doesn't like the box with the UH?
Oh man. It's not
Hey, there is Nadim. Hello, Nadim. Good to see you. It's a little early for her in the morning. You got to have stamper info.
I don't know if you saw the morning live stream. They were showing
I
Zappa
did not.
and stuff. It was
Who was?
Jim, Record Collector News. He was showing
Okay.
hot stampers. I think he has a hot stamper of Absolutely Free. So
Oh, okay.
6 a.m. Wow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I know it's 6 a.m.
no judgment here. We just have fun here. You know, low key, Nadine.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
I'll show some gold mines, you know.
This is so calm, I don't even need to give wrenches out. You know, that's how calm it is.
You know, David, you know, I always think like I'm always waiting for Alex to come back, because when he was like, when you would have these like live streams, you know, before, he would actually comment very, what do you call it? Be very sociable, no drama,
Yes, right.
you know? And I was like hoping the last time that he would jump up, you know,
Yeah,
we could have a calm conversation with him.
yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right. Alex was in your stream tonight. Well, now I'm really offended.
Really?
No.
Well, you had, Patrick, you had the Jeff Beck tribute, right?
Yeah, it's hard to be in multiple places at once, right? That's always the
Yes.
yeah, and you know, I mean, I don't want to step on anybody else's. It's just I look at my calendar and kind of go, oh shoot, today's probably the best day to do it. So that's what happens. So yeah, so we just you know, we won't talk about MoFi anymore. We'll keep off of that. They're entertainment enough. Have you ever heard this album, by the way, Jason? I don't know if you even like ELO, so I guess I'll.
You've shown that record. I'm just not familiar with it.
That one, that's his solo.
I've never really.
And then Zoom. Have you ever heard that?
No.
That's a great.
It's a good one.
Oh yeah, it's very hard to get, but it's very. I mean, listen to it. Obviously, you could stream it or whatever, but it's really. It was kind of his return back after being out of ELO for quite a while. It's real. It's one of those albums that got like 13 songs and like 9 of them could be singles.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's that good. I mean it's that just unbelievable. Great.
Yeah, the ones that Patrick did, again, kudos to you, Patrick. Like 4, Jeff Beck, all way better than Mazzy's. Let me just lay it on.
He did one the other night with UFO, and man, I really love UFO, and I didn't know they were respected much, but I'm glad that they were, at least on that show.
Well, yeah, I think, Patrick, you played that live UFO album, and I used to see that quite a bit. I was never into that band until you played that live album. That's where I was kind of like, whoa, this is just amazing,
Well, that song "Love to Love," to me, that's like a rock classic. That should be way up there in the rock classics. The way that song is structured and everything about it, and it just, I had that album Lights Out, and I loved it. That's how I got to know them. But very underrated band, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah, Patrick's really, really great. Yeah, he's on a lot. I mean, good, I've got to hear the live version of that, because honestly, as I told everybody earlier, I'm not huge on live stuff. So, but I would like to hear, that rendition. So I'll have to pull that up, because I think the actual, studio recording of it is pretty stunning. So it's a great band with little fanfare. Yeah, thanks, Patrick. I think that's right. You do really give a lot of your time and effort for what you do. That takes a lot of work, I know. And he answers emails. If you email him and ask him a question, he's great about that too. So, yeah, I work from home, and my office is my record room too. So,
same here. You don't see the turntable. It's
yeah.
to my right, Patrick. You don't see it. Whoa, Nadine, that's a tough question. We won't know until it comes out, right? Like
I pre-ordered it. I intend to get it.
Okay.
Yes. I like that album. So I'm going to take a chance. Let's see here. Eagles One Step, Lost. MOFI, American Beauty, Lost.
People praise the Eagles One Step, but I think, Patrick, did you do a contest on that, I think?
Yeah, I'll take the One Step over any of them.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the box set, the OG. I've got the white label OG. I'll take
I don't know. Like, I am very interested in Hotel California. Like,
sure, because I've never really heard a great sounding version of that, to be honest with you, in my opinion. What, Patrick? What are you talking about there? You said, the Chris Bellman cut of Eagles, or what? Eagles self-titled. Well, if you hang around Whitney, you become an excitable boy. So you got to be careful with that one. So, oh, American Beauty Bellman. Okay, all right. Thank you. I was going to say I didn't know Bellman did a Eagles. No, John, we get it. But
can you highlight Tim P's comment?
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm getting
there. Tim P just wait it out again. Get a second, third, fourth, fifth. Do not. Tim, like, I got mine through. I think I got mine maybe 10 years ago through a great deal. The person listed it wrong, Tim. And that's how I was able to get my copy of Dark Side of the Moon for $200.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They didn't know what they had.
Yep.
So, Patrick, are you saying you have the vinyl DCC of Hotel California? because I got to say that I had the DCC of their greatest hits, and I was not impressed. So, yeah, I'm assuming you don't mean CD, you mean vinyl with the DCC, but yeah, I sold it. I mean, I made a pretty good profit on it, but HC comparison. Yeah, okay, yes, the vinyl. Oh, do you? Okay. Your greatest hits you have of Eagles? What do you think of that one? Like I said, I really wasn't particularly impressed with it. Not that greatest hits are usually done that well, generally. They don't give them much effort,
Well,
usually.
isn't that like one of the biggest selling records?
Oh, yeah.
Thriller?
Yeah, number two or one. I can't
Right.
remember. It's back and forth, but yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah. So it's but that Steely Dan greatest hits, the 2 LP with the RL, that's an amazing. A lot of the cuts sound better than the OGs.
Yeah, I got that for $8 like a couple months ago.
Really? Yeah, I paid 18, I think, but every time I see one, I buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have so many people who want them that are friends, and and they can never seem to find them. So
yeah, it's getting harder. I don't know. That's interesting.
yeah.
Really? God. Oh, okay. Nadine, that Elvis is back. Like isn't it just a picture of him like facing forward? It's a missed opportunity. Shouldn't he be like Elvis is back and then goes backside? It was a missed opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, the RLSDs. Like I said, I literally grab every time I find one. You're the same way. Yeah, exactly. He's the same way I am. Every time I see one, I pick them up.
maybe C minus, D plus. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Nadine, I love Elvis. I find him very intriguing, fascinating figure. Right? Again, greatest performer.
Did you watch my video on Suspicious Minds?
I don't know if I did.
Huh?
I don't think so.
No. I did a song anomalies. There were song by the Mamas and the Papas and his Suspicious Minds song, and the backstories of those songs.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, the one that's pretty interesting. You've been to Graceland, Jason?
It was closed, so we took a picture.
They saw him coming.
Right. Well, I think I told you maybe the funny story about Graceland. A friend of mine, he went, and it was such a hot day, and there was the pool, and then my friend like asked the tour guide like, what would happen if I jumped in the pool? And the tour guy said, you would be banned for life. And he's like, I can't take this. It's too hot. He jumped in the pool.
Oh, really?
Took him out. He was escorted out, banned for life.
Just let me get this one on Friday Music. So there's a guy named Joe Regano or something that does most of the remastering on him, and he's not a mastering engineer. And so if he's teamed up with like somebody from that band or whatever, it's not bad. But generally, I haven't had great results with Friday Music stuff generally. So he asked about the all sides, and so here's Patrick's answer. Match the etching. RO does not always etch both sides, but his 7 and R are very distinct the way they look. So.
Oh, Vintage Meal. I have been to Sun Studios though, and that's like an amazing. If you've ever been there, you just get this feeling that's crazy. It overwhelms you. Same way if you've ever been to Motown, if you go there and you go to the studio room, which was like a garage converted, and it's so small, just like Sun Studios, and you're like, they made the magic here. This is crazy.
Yeah. So here's the point, like he says, and someone else, it's who did the mastering. Kevin Gray doing the Friday Music is going to be okay. But this guy, Joe Regasso, I think his name is, and Ron McMaster, those are they're not really to be bought. Yeah. Dreamboat Annie, Kevin Graves. Yeah, that's a very well recorded album. Very well recorded analog album. Dreamboat Annie. Yeah, Wallies are plentiful.
Oh, never been there. That would be interesting.
Yeah, and that's obviously
Maybe,
he was on RCA, so
I think the only thing that would probably top that is going to Paisley Park. Mio, have you been to Paisley Park Prince's studio? That is,
I haven't been there. No.
it's crazy. Like he had, I think, 3 different studios in the complex, and
Yeah. I've heard about it. I mean, Susan Rogers talked about it on my interview with her. So yeah.
like I asked the guy, I think in Studio 2, I think is Studio 1 or Studio 2 is the bigger one. And I asked, like, can I go and sit, like, be near in the center of the console? And he's like, yeah. And then, like, can we crank up the music? And then everybody's like, what is he doing? I'm like, do you feel the music, like, coming? Everybody was like
a wave.
Right, just because you were in the middle, on the speakers. And I was just like, man, I'm standing where Prince was when he listened to this great music. Like, what's going on? It's awesome. They wouldn't let me touch the drum machine though, so that was like,
how dare they? Yeah, very. There you go. I agree with you 100% on that, Patrick.
There's one thing I think. What was it? That MoFi One Step of the Springsteen record.
That's coming.
That's coming, and then on the Hoffman forums, there was a little bit of discussion, argument on it, and that's where like Mazzy recommended that box set.
The box set, right?
I think 2016 or something, or 2014. I just got it for a great deal, like 135. That's ridiculous, used. And I listened to the first album and I was blown away because I don't remember that record like sounding
that way.
I was just shocked. I was like, no way. Am I like, this is ridiculous. And then I put on Born to Run because I was like, okay, we'll see about
that. Because that's a pretty boring recording. Yeah.
Right. That one sucks. And then listened to it. I was just like, no way, this is good too. Like, oh no. Like, could the One Step, best any of these, It's like, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I tend to, it'll be, it's kind of like the problem is there's not enough quality in the recording itself to eke out a lot more.
Yes.
That's the thing about it in those cases. That's where I don't see it's going to work out that way. So.
Well, it's interested me because before all this reviews and stuff, like I've been looking back at sort of the analog or releases back in before the pandemic, like things that I just went looking for. So I bought that Electric Ladyland box set that was mastered by Bernie. I think that was 2016. Patrick, do you know about that one? That box? Let me go get it. This bad boy. Does anyone in the peanut gallery remember this thing?
Let me make you big there. I need to zoom in on you.
Let me get higher. So I guess this is the original cover that he wanted, right? But there we go. I heard that the live at Hollywood Bowl is trash, but Patrick, this thing sounds amazing. I can't believe it. Like, it was just ridiculous. And I'm thinking that's why Chad won't do this, because it's already been done, and it's mastered by Bernie. Usually I hate, like I have the track, but I hadn't listened to the track in like 20 years, but I have a copy of the, what is it? The American, the Reprise, and that thing is bad. It's terrible. Like I can't even listen to it. But this thing, like it just really comes out, and I was just like shocked, like no way, like what?
That's back on the Friday music question, I think, that he's answered. So
let's see here. John Bandy, yes, mastered by Bernie Grudman. This is from 2018. So again, I think this was let me do my math here, the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
Of Electric Ladyland. You can still get it, Patrick. Yeah, it is a legacy. You can still get this for cheap, Patrick. Like, get it before people start
realizing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I got this for cheap because it's missing the Blu-ray, but I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with no Blu-ray. That's fine. I'll get the CD version if I need it. No worries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said the two-tone Reprise Electric Ladyland has that phasing issue. I've read about that.
I think I still have my copy, but I don't know if I can listen to it after listening to this one. I can't.
Probably not. Probably not.
Because what is it? It opens up with "And the Gods Made Love," and then "Have you ever been to Electric Ladyland?" That's like the best version I've ever heard it. Like, I was a bit shocked, and then goes to "Cross Down Traffic," right?
Yeah, that's an interesting box.
I recommend, if you love him, love Hendrix, this is because I don't foresee Chad doing a UHQR of this,
Well, he's got to go through the family, so.
Right, never say never, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a great relationship with them. So, I mean, if anybody would redo it, he might. But, it's funny that Legacy did that, because Legacy, isn't that deal with Sony somehow?
Yes.
That's really peculiar to me.
And I think that was the thing too about this. And what is it? It was like this one's pressed at QRP, but the other ones were pressed at GZ Media or something, and that's why the quality control was like really bad. So everyone, yeah. So on the Hoffman forums, John Bandy, people were just like, "Man, this thing's not great," And then other people were like, "No, you have to get the ones pressed with Chad, at QRP." So then I just waited, until I found a good price, paid for it, and then
Chad probably still has the plates.
Yes. So that's what kind of like,
Yeah.
But this was totally worth it. So, I mean, again, I'm just rediscovering things prior to, all these people doing the reviews for them.
The thing about Chad, is he has some small openings, but he's basically booked out 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So, a lot of these things are baked in the cake. He started working on Steely Dan in like 2017. So,
okay,
just to give you an idea, these things take time and effort, and I'm sure even with the Hendrix, they probably have some slotted things in the next 10 years where they're going to do some things, maybe based anniversary basis or something like that, and then he has pet projects where he keeps some openings in his schedule for what they kind of call pet projects. Because even when I was in the plant, it's like, oh, this is one of Chad's pet projects, and they were really like holding it close to the vest. I said, "Hey, I think your phone's ringing. You want to lay that down?"
Well, I mean, I hope he does more like jazz, like free jazz, because that whole Pharoah Sanders, that thing sounds great.
Does it? Yeah, and he was very critical of that he thought that, it really, he couldn't do as much with it as he would like to, but it wasn't He said it just wasn't there to do, but he had so much demand for it that he
Mhm.
said he said I did the best I could, is what he said. He said,
And he did a fine job, and I hope he does the Alice Coltrane,
yeah,
next. That'll be great.
yeah, he it's on his radar. I guess I'll just that's the easiest way to put it. But yeah, that's definitely in his wheelhouse and on his radar. Now, how these, yeah, that's what Tim P said. It's like these negotiations. I mean, yeah, I was there August 30th. So and they released Can't Buy a Thrill. When was it? In October, I think. And they were still finagling over stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, they were going to release it October 28th, and then in the last minute, Universal said, no, you got to do it November 4th. So, and I mean, that happened like a week before October 28th. So these guys, it was just like, it's like the old thing about you don't want to watch sausage being made, because they're having a call and Fega's on the line, Irving Asmoff's on the line, the head of Universal's on the line. It's like, and it's like a chess game, and I think that's kind of like, when Chad gets kind of emotional, he kind of knows what it involves to do it. And he thinks nobody really, gets it, and manufacturing the same way, making records, so anyway.
Patrick, did you buy the set? Are you kidding? Patrick, did I?
Yeah, it would sell like crazy. Yeah, Ice Castles. Yeah, that's on prior. $90. Okay.
$90? Did you get this for 90?
That's all right. I think that's what he's referring.
David, I think we've met before, especially have you ever set up at the Austin Record Show?
Me?
Yeah.
I haven't set up, but I've been there a bunch of times.
Okay.
I've been there a bunch of
I'm
times.
thinking of somebody else, but
yeah, the Austin Record Show is really great
Mhm.
for the weekend to really, go get the early bird and, just immerse. There's some great record stores in the city that you can, go to as well. So it's definitely worth the experience.
let me show Ice Cold Beverage what I bought at the last Austin Record Show, I think 2
Okay.
years ago. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there you go. Quick spec. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all a tussle, but he keeps beating the pavement to get it done. That's the thing about the guy. He like I said, he is like a dog with a bone. He does not let go of that bone. Don't try to get it away from him. That's just how he is.
So $3, right? Just a common, but you don't see this one, and it's not that expensive. I think you can buy it, but I mean, do you see that? You don't see the W7 on after the gold rush, right?
Oh, okay. Let me
So
zoom you in here. W7. Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Again, $3, totally worth it. So Ice Cold, if you're gonna go to Austin, pay for that early bird.
Yeah. Pre-order for Amused to Death is March 20th. That was when the pandemic started. That's ironic right there. Oh, man.
Well, Patrick, can't wait till you get that Electric Ladyland. You gotta let me know. What do you think?
Okay, good. We're going to know what it sounds like. That's what we want to hear.
When is the Austin? Is it like later in May?
Yeah, it's maybe mid-ish May, or I don't think it's later in May because
it's early May. Early May, May 6th.
Early May. I think it's early May because my anniversary is in later May, and I've never had a conflict. So
I can't go. I gotta go to Vegas.
you got to go to Vegas.
Yeah, it's a family reunion thing.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'll be borrowing a car or doing Uber and going to all those record stores.
Oh, don't go to that one place. What the heck's the name of it?
Well, I think Nadine went to this one that I've been to, and the guy's a bit, you know.
Yeah, there's a guy there, and it's a store that Elton John goes and gets his records at when he goes to
Okay.
Vegas. And this guy is, I mean, he's rude. He's
I
just,
think, yeah,
yeah,
I think I
he's,
know what
yeah,
you're talking about.
yeah. And it's like, I mean, he goes, I don't want to sell that record today. You know, It's- some of them aren't priced, and he prices them as you come to the counter. Kind of like it reminds me of, like lobster. It's like you have to wait until it's in season, then they tell you what it's going to cost you.
Well, I think, yeah, that store I didn't really find too much, so I didn't really get anything major. Just left disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. He's Elton John. But yeah, that place is, yeah. Yeah, a guy who did auctions, who still does them, who used to live in Vegas, worked for him. And yeah, it's a topic that Armando and I didn't talk about today, was, selling unofficials. And, Armando we never did that at all. I mean, at all, but that happens out there.
Well, he has an interesting background. I didn't ask him, because coming from more of a seller's point of view, just buy it, sell it. And if he's buying in bulk, he's not going to listen to everything,
No.
Interesting.
One step? I didn't, wait, I don't know that that's on a one step.
I think it's on a UHQR, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's a one step. It could be an APUHQR that I think I've not to Impex one step. Okay.
Well,
yeah, I had a thing where I wanted to get notified when the Earth, Wind, and Fire's That's the Way of the World came out, the Impex version, because I've got a Speaker's Corner one, and I heard the Impex was really, and it was like $69. I'm like, no way. I'm not paying $70 for that. That was crazy. It was, it was through the In Groove, and I really liked the fact they notify you, but it's like, my gosh, I thought it was like 45, maybe tops. I was just really kind of shocked at that.
Well, hype will bring it up, I suppose,
I guess. I wanted to hear it, but I didn't want to hear it that bad, I guess. See that?
Yeah. Well, can you highlight John Bandy's comment about dropping his jaw when Armando mentioned the View collection? Yeah, that was very interesting.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm going to try to help him get his channel going. I mean, I started on Second Chance doing, kind of this kind of thing while doing auctions, talking to people about pressings and trying to educate people. That's kind of how this got started for me. So I want to pay it forward on that one, pay him back for that. You paid 45 a couple years ago. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah, I've got the Speaker's Corner. It's really good, because the only other one I have of that is I have a quad version of it, of that Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, they've gone up. Obviously, that's the bottom line. So that's it. Well, I'll tell you what, we're at the witching hour. It's midnight 03 here. So I've been really blessed to have you on, Jason and Armando. Thank you as well. And all you guys in the Peanut Gallery and Gals, Soul Disco, thanks for joining early. Everybody, we appreciate it. You guys are the best. So you all take care. Stay safe. Give your kids and your family a hug. Talk to you guys later. Thanks, Jason. Peace, brother.
David, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me on.
You're welcome anytime. Thanks, Armando, as well. Take care, guys. Have a good evening and night and morning. Bye-bye.